Halloween night. A small American town. 15 years ago.
Michael?
Halloween.
I spent 8 years trying to reach him, and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil. I think he'll come back.
Exploring uncharted territory.
Totally charted.
Just talk.
Sure. The only reason she babysits is to have
Halloween.
Okay, Linda.
Come on out. Halloween. The night he came home.
Happy Halloween, YouTube. Part-time gamer here today. Well, my first Halloween special slash review slash retrospective. So, you guys might be wondering, what am I reviewing or giving my personal thoughts on? Well, Halloween. I'm not doing the whole series. I'm doing John Carpenter's Halloween, the 1978 classic. Some people might say it's the scariest horror movie of all time. Some people might say it's whack. But to many, it's a fan favorite. It was the start of the slasher craze, and it will be followed by 9 sequels and like 3 different continuities. You know, you got Halloween 1 and 2. Then we're gonna skip 3 for obvious reasons if you've seen Halloween 3. So the first continuity goes Halloween 1980. Halloween 2, 1981, which continues on from where the first movie left off. Then you skip 10 years later with Halloween 4, which introduces, you know, everybody's fan favorite heroine, Danielle Harris, aka Jamie Lloyd. And then 5, that's when they kind of introduced the whole Thorn trilogy or whatever. Then Curse of Michael Myers, where it got really weird or whatever. Yeah. Then you got Halloween H2O 20 years later, which ignores Halloween 4, 5, and 6, opting to go with, you know, a whole completely different storyline. Me, personally, that's one of my favorite horror movies of all time, even though it's not really scary, but I like the meta take on it. Then we got, I think, which everybody calls the bastard of the bunch, is a Halloween Resurrection with Busta Rhymes and Tyra Banks, and they were going for this, you know, found footage, kind of like on the web series type thing. I don't know, it just didn't fit. Then you got Rob Zombie's Halloween and Halloween 2. All I got to say about those is, wow. Then we have Halloween 2018, which ignores all of the sequels and their storylines, opting to be a direct sequel to John Carpenter's 1978 masterpiece. So, what is Halloween about? Halloween is about Michael Myers, an escaped mental patient who, for whatever reason, decides to break out of his mental asylum on Halloween night. He somehow drives himself back to Haddonfield, Illinois, where his reign of terror began. He is in hot pursuit by his doctor, Sam Loomis, played by the late great Donald Pleasence. It is said that Michael is nothing but pure evil. Michael has no reasoning, he has no nothing. Of course, the sequels will later muddle this up, but the first time we meet Michael Myers, he has no reasoning, there's no motive, it's just as simply, he just wants to kill, and he kills anybody that he wants. Our 3 victims in this movie consist of 2 female and 1 male. Although Michael did try to kill a 3rd female, which is Laurie Strode, which was Jamie Lee Curtis's first role, I might add. This movie is a staple of great filmmaking, great editing. Overall, it's just a really great horror movie. It spawned the likes of Friday the 13th, A Nightmare on Elm Street, and the slasher craze of the 80s. One of the best horror movies of all time, in my opinion. Ask anybody out here, any kid, any adult, any person who loves horror, who their favorite horror mascot is. 9 times out of 10, you're going to get 1 or 2. Well, 1 of 3, really. You're going to either get Jason Voorhees, you're going to get Freddy Krueger, or you're going to get the OG himself, Michael Myers. So, the first Halloween is a staple. I'm trying to figure out how can I word it. It's a product of its time because, back then, back in the late 60s, early 70s, even the late 70s, I might add, slashers/horror movies were considered low-grade garbage. And John Carpenter and Mustafa Akkad, I think that's how you say his name, set out to make something, purely out of spite, I guess. Because at the time, you had the likes of Wes Craven's The Last House on the Left, which it was a pretty decent horror movie I have seen, but there was nothing so shocking, so to speak. The last shocking movie that in that particular time was Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. And again, that also starred Jamie Lee Curtis's mother. So, fun fact for you all there. So, my thoughts on Halloween. Halloween, was one of those movies that me and my mother and my grandmother, for that fact, would watch every year, every time it came on TV. Every time they would show it, that was just kind of like our thing because we're a big fan of horror movie. So, but for it to be a horror movie, the body count is low. But I'm going to show you why for a good movie, it has a low body count. But the suspense is where it lies. I'll show you why. For no reason at all, Michael scares that little kid and then proceeds to stalk little Tommy Doyle, all while just mindlessly looking for his next victim. And this is some great cinematography, not only because of, it doesn't necessarily need blood or anything of that nature, but it's just the simple fact it just shows Michael is an unstoppable killing machine, and once he has his victim in his sight, he will do anything in his power to get it, even if it means stalking from afar watching his victims' every move until it's the perfect time to strike. Let's talk about the music. The music in this movie is phenomenal. The best score ever, in my opinion, in a horror movie. But more on that later. John Carpenter not only directed this movie, but he also composed the score for this movie as well. Now, when he first sent the movie in to his producers without the music, they said it was the most boring movie they had ever saw. So then, when he composed the score and added in the score, he sent it back into his producers, and they said it was one of the scariest films that he had ever seen at the time. So that's just a staple of how the music can make the movie. But I'm pretty sure everybody watching this video knows that. So why is Michael Myers a staple of Halloween, or just why is Michael Myers so popular? Well, as one of my friends as she would say, he has no reasoning. He is the pure definition of evil. He has no soul. The simple will for him to kill is what drives him. Yes, like I said earlier, the sequels would screw everything up entirely with all this curse and all this mumbo jumbo crap that, honestly, I felt like Michael Myers didn't really need a backstory. I mean, he's a mental patient who killed his sister at 6 years old, and just one Halloween night decides to kill babysitters. That's pretty much all the backstory you need. But no, the sequels wanted to add on more and more. But I'm not here talking about the sequels. I'm just talking about, Halloween. And you can't talk about Halloween without talking about one of the greatest speeches in horror movie history of all time. And here, I'm going to play a little snippet now.
I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left. No reason, no conscience, no understanding, and even the most rudimentary sense of life or death, of good or evil, right or wrong. I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. I spent 8 years trying to reach him, and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up, because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
That monologue about Michael, how Dr. Loomis is describing Michael, is iconic. It's legendary. I mean, wow. So, as all of you know by now, Michael then proceeds to go on a rampage. Well, not so much a rampage, but he does kill Laurie Strode's friends. 2 of her friends and one of their boyfriends. Which the climax of this film is really, really amazing. And I'm going to play a different couple of clips and everything. And then I'm going to leave you all with my final thoughts and everything.
I'm gonna take a little walk.
Was it the boogeyman? I'm scared.
There's nothing to be scared of.
Are you sure? How?
I killed him.
You can't kill the boogeyman.
Get in there, come on, Tommy. Now lock the door.
Oh, I forgot to mention, Halloween 1978 is the only time that we actually see Michael Myers' face when Laurie Strode rips off his mask. And I think that's great because, you know, what Friday the 13th did, it's like in every movie we saw him unmasked and everything. And although I love Jason, I feel like not seeing Michael's face left the man more of a mystery, and it left more to the imagination. So, here's that clip now. And let's not forget the iconic ending where Dr. Loomis shoots him, which again is one of the greatest horror movie endings of all time.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
Well, my final thoughts. Halloween, although a great movie, not one of my personal favorites, I'm not gonna sit here and trash the movie because the movie is honestly great. It's still one of my go-to horror movies and everything. You know, you can never go wrong with the original. Amazing acting by Donald Pleasence, and for it to be Jamie Lee Curtis's first film, she did an amazing job. She would go on later in life to be dubbed the scream queen of the 80s. Her and Danielle Harris, if you ask some people. And Donald Pleasence would stick with all the Halloween zaniness up until his death, right around the time they were doing production on Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers. Halloween 1978 is one of those movies that you have to at least see once in your lifetime to really understand where the birth of the slasher genre came from. Because without Halloween, there would be no Prom Night, Fright Night, Friday the 13th, Freddy Krueger. None of that would exist. And it's all thanks to John Carpenter, Mustafa Akkad, and I'm sorry, I forgot to mention her earlier, but the late Deborah Hill, John Carpenter's writing partner. They would go on to do several more feature films together, such as The Thing and The Fog. Two great cult classics, in my opinion. But, hey, you know, it's Halloween. So, with that being said, this was my review, sort of / retrospective on Halloween. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you want to see more videos like this, just let me know in the comments below. With that being said, have a safe and happy Halloween. And this is Part Time Gamer signing off. Peace.